Ronnie McGraw, who worked with Mr. Hogan himself. He's one of the few remaining master craftsmen from back in the day that was personally schooled by grinding. Gene Sheely was the name of the gent that used to build Mr. Hogan's clubs for him personally. And Gene was the guy, Ronnie, right, that taught you how to do it. You apprenticed under him?
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
What was that about? What was that like?
I thought when I went in there being a club pro for 25 years, I thought I knew a lot about golf clubs until you sit down and talk to Gene Sheely, and you found out how little you did know about golf clubs. And it was an experience that was Nick's best thing that I had ever done.
What was it like? Because you were telling me yesterday when you had to change grips for Mr. Hogan in the 530. In fact, why don't you tell that story of what it was like and how exacting you had to be?
Yeah, Hogan had his grip set at 532 because when he gripped the club and swung right at impact, that being at 530 opened the face on that club to keep him from hooking the ball. So we would put on his grips and take them into Hogan, and Hogan's fingers were like calipers, and he could go through every club and tell you exactly that 7-iron is not set at 530. So Sheely finally designed a fixture that you could put each club in, and a screw on the head part cocked it exactly at 530, every one of them. So the next time I took those clubs in there, Hogan went through them. He went through them again, and he looked up and he said, "What'd you do?" Because every one of these are at 530. And then Sheely and myself had to admit what we had done, because I got tired of going in there and having to redo grips. And you had to redo every one, and sometimes I'd get it, and it still wouldn't be at 530, and I have to take it back again and put it on again. So anyway, he knew when a club was 2 degrees flat or 1 degree flat, and it was amazing how good he was.
It's not uncommon that people talk about being around Mr. Hogan and that it was intimidating. Was it intimidating?
Yes. I hated going there. I hated to go in there.
But when you weren't in there, when you were around him, what was he like as a human being?
He was just a regular person, to me anyway, and he even joked around, like one of the boys. So people always talk about it, how unfriendly he was on the golf course. He had to do that to play good golf. Mm-hmm. And he used to tell me, and he always used Lee Trevino as if Sheely would take a model to Mr. Hogan, and he said, "Mr. Hogan, would you like anybody besides yourself to hit this club before we go to the model, the real model?" And he said, take it over and let the Mexican in Dallas hit it.
Yeah, Mr. Trevino, Lee Trevino told me that story. He said that Ben Hogan used to say, let the Mexican kid, he used to call him.
Yeah.
Let him hit it. And Lee Trevino didn't take any offense to that at all. He thought it was great that Ben Hogan would ask him to do it.
Hogan said, that man has the best hands in golf. He said he has the best hands in golf.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
When you look back on it all these years later, when you've had this I mean, it's becoming rarer and rarer to be around people that knew and worked, in your case, directly for and with Ben Hogan. Does it make you appreciate even more the commitment that he had to excellence?
You really do, because he was so intent on having that happen all the time that it made I think it made everybody try to build better golf clubs.
It's tremendous. It's just tremendous. And now BenHoganGolf.com, this iteration of the Ben Hogan Company, I mean, I'm looking at a set of clubs here because we're in the factory, and I see his signature on the tip of that grip, and I look at this beautiful product that's being manufactured. I would take it, Ronnie, that it brings a smile to your face.
It sure
that
does.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment Company is still being produced and
sure
being
does.
produced to this level.
Yes, sir, it sure does.
And rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
For Fort Worth and for the game itself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing those experiences
Okay.
with us. It was absolutely delightful to see you again.
Pleasure being here.